Good morning, beloveds. Welcome to December. We are cruising to the end of this year. Okay, so it is December. It is the month of light. So this should be interesting. And the first day we get a bunch of quotes. So a new light is coming into the world. We are on the borderline of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. And that is Ernest Holmes. Then shall thy light break forth. That's from Isaiah 58:8. The knowledge that there is a central chamber of the soul blazing with the light of the divine love and wisdom has come in the course of history to multitudes of human beings. That is Aldous Huxley. In the world as it is, the richness of the outer stirs us all to the wonder of the inner, whose greatness is displayed in acts so splendid. That is Plotinus. It's Greek. The wonderful ordering of the sun, the planets, and the comets cannot but be the work of an intelligent, all-powerful being. Isaac Newton. I can see that in the midst of darkness, light persists. Hence, I gather that God is life, truth, light. God is love. God is the supreme good. That is Gandhi. And our last one is again from Ernest Holmes. In the moments of deepest realization, the great mystics have sensed that one life flows through all, and that all are some part of that life. They have also seen substance, a fine, white, brilliant stuff, forever falling into everything, a substance indestructible and eternal. It is at such times of complete realization that they have been blinded by the light of which we have been speaking. And that is Ernest Holmes. So that is the month of December. So I look forward to seeing what the month of December will look like. And we're going to start with December 1st. Our title is, I am resolved to see the good in everyone and in every event. And we have, this will be fun. We have a reading from the Bible, and then, maybe I should say we have a reading from the Christian Testament, and we have a reading from the Talmud. So, and tomorrow we have a reading from Galatians and the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And that is from 2 Corinthians 6:14. And then, not God, but ye yourselves are the creators and supporters of moral evils. Ooh. That's from the Talmud. So, we're going to start this off. Interesting. All right. Light can have no union with darkness. Evil has no affinity with good. If good is the great reality, while evil is the great negation or the denial of reality, then it follows that we should see the good in everything and recognize the apparent evil merely as a theoretical opposite of good. There is not God and something else. The divine spirit inhabits eternity, overshadows everything, including human events, dwells within our own soul, and is released through our own act. To see good as evil is to becloud our vision, to obstruct the pathway of our progress, and to cast a shadow across the sun of righteousness. This spiritual sun is the guiding star that led the Magi of old to the place where the little child lay. That is, to the place of the good in our soul, to the presence of God at the center of every person's being. The humility of the manger is the common place in every person's life. It is here in a common place that we must find the good, and finding it here, we shall also discover that the larger issues of our experience are overshadowed by this same good that we have discovered in the common place. I am resolved today to see the good in everyone and in every event. I will call upon the good and will refuse to accept that anything other than good shall come into my experience. In this way, I will be praying for the good through meditating upon it. If I thought he was going to be easy on us for December, I was wrong. Okay. I am resolved. So he's already given us our mission for today. Our mission is to see the good in every experience. Literally, that's what the title is. I am resolved to see the good in everyone and in every event. And then with the two Bible quotes, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness? And not God, but ye yourselves are the creators and supporters of moral evil. I mean, really? Let's just start the month of December going, yeah, no. I mean, that's exactly what it feels like. Yeah, no. Now, let's go back and relook at what's going on in the world. So light can have no union with darkness. Evil has no affinity with good. If good is the great reality, and he uses the capital R there, while evil is the great negation or the denial of reality, and I can see that. Basically, it's like you are denying what is truth with a capital T. You are denying what's going on. And to some degree, you're denying your own humanity. Not you, somebody who is committing an act of what we would call evil. They're denying their connection with whoever they're perpetrating the act on. They're denying their connection to spirit, and they're denying their connection to good. They're denying the reality of who they are and who the person is that they're committing this act on. They are denying all of that. Then it follows that we should see the good in everything and recognize the apparent evil, and he uses that word, apparent evil, merely as a theoretical opposite of good. So that's kind of a harsh, I'm not even, sometimes we have to look events in the eye and say, the act is evil. The people doing it are not. They are making choices. They are not in and of themselves evil. They are still children of God. What they are doing is evil, because what they are doing is denying connection, denying who they are, denying who they are perpetrating their act. They're denying all of that. Which is, that's a big ask. That is a big ask. But that is exactly what Science of Mind asks us to do. But Science of Mind does not ask us to put ourselves in the path of those people. It does ask us to, treat those people and that they recognize who they are. It does ask us to see that they are children of God. But it doesn't say anything about not stopping them. So, just, religion and spirituality can get a little weird, and it's like, oh yeah, we want to love yes, we do want to love everybody. We don't have to like everybody, and we don't have to like everything that they do. And we are allowed to say, no, this is unacceptable. Let me tell you why this is unacceptable. And it also tells us that we don't have to put ourselves in the path of these people. So, all right. There is not God in something else. I have hammered that point home. There is not God in something else. There is not an equal power. Evil is a misuse of the law, not a separate power. The divine spirit inhabits eternity, overshadows everything, including human events, dwells within our own soul, and is released through our own act. To see good as evil is to becloud our vision. Oh. To obstruct the pathway of our progress, to cast a shadow over the sun of the righteousness. That phrase is going to bite our butts every time. Because that's one where people are going to pick apart signs of mind. It's like, wait, you see good in this and this is... No, we don't see good in what is happening. What we see is that the people are not evil. So I'm not saying that... I'm saying that they're godlings who are misusing their creativity. And standing firm in that sometimes is hard. What they are doing is wrong. What they are doing needs to stop. I am willing to get between and say no, and I'm willing to call their act evil. I'm not willing to call them evil. It's hard. Yeah. I admit it. And I yes. Okay. This spiritual sun is the guiding star that led the Magi of old to the place where the little child lay. Okay, so he says this, and then he explains himself. That is, to the place that is good in our soul, to the presence of God at the center of every person's being. That's what Science of Mind asks us to see. That every single living being is as Reverend Jesse likes to use the word, a godling. There is a center of God, a center of spirit in every single being. And it is our job to see that. Now, when they misuse the law, we have every right to say, you are misusing the law. I mean, we may not want to use those words, but you know what I mean. But we still are asked to see them as a child of God. And then to say, what you're doing is not the act of a child of God. Let's talk about this. Or, that's just a phrase, let's talk about this. You know, you don't have to put yourself in their path, but you do what you can to stop what they are doing, because it's not okay. And we are allowed to stop what they are doing when it is not okay. We just have to do it in a manner that recognizes that they are still children of God. Okay. I'm going to get back off my soapbox. And I'm not quite sure what to do with this next phrase. The humility of the manger is the commonplace in every person's life. I'm going to think about that one. The humility of the manger is the commonplace in every person's life. It is here in the commonplace that we must find the good, and finding it here, we shall also discover the larger issue of our experience. The larger issues of our experience are overshadowed by the same good that we have discovered in the commonplace. Maybe, and here's where I'm going to say, disclaimer, this is my opinion. The humility of the manger means that where are you going to find God? Are you going to find God in an expensive, ornate, Baroque church? Or are you going to find God in a stable? And Ernest's opinion is you're going to find God in the stable. Because everyone has access to the stable. And not everyone has access to that expensive Baroque church. That's my experience in New York City. Why I'm referencing this if you've ever been to New York City, it was St. Jean's, somewhere in New York City, and it was probably one of the most terrifying churches I've ever been into, because it was huge and it was gorgeous and it was expensive. It was also old. And where would you be more comfortable talking to God? In a church like that, or sitting next to a manger? Most people are going to be way more comfortable talking to God in the manger. And that's where we need to make it okay to find God. When we can find God in the common places, the stables, the mangers, on the street corner, it'll be easier to find him in the churches too, because everybody has access to the stables. And I think that's what he's talking about. It is here in the commonplace that we must find the good, and finding it here, we shall also discover that the larger issues of our experience are overshadowed by the same good that we have discovered in the commonplace, which means that God has never abandoned us. Whether we're standing in that gorgeous Baroque church or we're standing in the stable. I am resolved today to see the good in everyone and in every event. I will call upon the good and will refuse to accept that anything other than good can come into my experience. In this way, I will be praying to the good through meditating upon it. Focus on the good, you'll see more good. Focus on the evil, you'll see more evil. It doesn't mean we don't know it's out there. It doesn't mean we are not going to get in the way of it. It does require us to look at the people who are perpetrating it and say, you are a child of God. Remember who you are. December is going to be an interesting month. So, like I said, our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to see the good in everyone and every event. And if you don't like what you're seeing, change it. That is within your power. Whatever that looks like, it is within your power to change what you see. You are a divine distributor. You are a child of God. That creative power flows through you. It is your right and it is your responsibility. So, now that we have started off the month of light, do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Every day, until you are willing to look in the mirror and see the eyes of God looking back at you, until you can look at every person you meet and see the eyes of God looking back at you. Hold that space for them. Hold that light for them so that they can come to the light themselves. Sometimes all we have to do is hold the space for them. Sometimes it's as simple as when you have had an experience with somebody that was not particularly wonderful in light, when you come to them the next time and you treat them as if that experience had not happened, then they can come to themselves and go, oh, okay. And they do better next time. And if they don't, then you can remove yourself from the situation. That's okay too. All right. I do have to get to work. It is freezing out there, so I want to layer up. And I'm going to remind you to open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you live in heaven now. To remind you that you are a beloved child of Spirit, in whom Spirit is well pleased now and forever, that you live in that state of grace. And that you have the ability to extend that grace to everyone in your life. To remind them that they live in heaven. See the good. Or as Emma says, see the good and praise it. We want to fix what is not. but we want to see what is and praise that. We want to focus on that. We want to see more of that. And the best way to get more of the good is to praise it when you see it. Anybody who's a parent, from what I understand, if you reward good behavior, you tend to get more of it. All right. Also works with employees too. So I'm going to move on with the process of my day. Do something to engage your mind and your body today. Do what you need to do to have a fantastic day. And we'll come back to more light tomorrow. All right, beloveds. Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. Well, I'm going to meet my trainer tomorrow. But that doesn't mean anything. I should still be on time to see you at 9 a.m. Have a wonderful day, beloved.